The Austin Allegro is not merely a bad car. It is an automotive warning. It is a rolling demonstration of how many terrible decisions can be compounded into a single, depressing package. Approaching one with the intent to purchase is an act of mechanical self-sabotage, a journey into despair that offers no reward. The only reward is perhaps the profound relief of seeing it finally dragged away on a tow truck, never to return. This guide serves not to inform potential owners of the merits of acquisition, for there are none. It serves instead to meticulously detail every conceivable flaw, every structural weakness, and every inherent design failure. These aspects make owning this vehicle a perpetually frustrating experience, guaranteeing buyer remorse from the moment the engine refuses to turn over, which it surely will. Prospective purchasers should understand that buying an Allegro is not buying transport. It is buying a project of continuous, expensive, and ultimately futile repair. It is a financial black hole masquerading as a compact family saloon. The problems are legion, they are persistent, and they are woven into the very fabric of the car's terrible construction. The bodywork is the first sign of impending doom, a poorly executed design that seems actively antagonistic towards the concept of structural integrity and longevity. Rust is not a possibility with the Allegro. It is an absolute certainty, an inherent feature that begins forming the moment the car leaves the factory, if not before. The steel used appears to possess an affinity for oxidation far surpassing that of any contemporary vehicle, rapidly dissolving into brittle flakes and gaping holes. Inspecting the sills is often a depressing exercise in finding large sections of missing metal, frequently masked by layers of cheap filler applied by previous owners attempting to delay the inevitable MOT failure. The wheel arches are similarly susceptible to rapid disintegration, turning solid metal into brown dust with alarming speed. Crucially, the structural members, the parts of the car that actually keep it in one piece during driving, or heaven forbid, during a minor impact, are equally vulnerable to this catastrophic corrosion. The subframe mountings are notorious weak points, rotting out completely and leading to dangerously unpredictable handling characteristics. This assumes you even managed to get the car moving in the first place. Finding an Allegro without significant, load-bearing rust is akin to finding an honest politician. It is impossible and frankly unbelievable. Even those examples that appear superficially sound will inevitably hide horrific decay beneath layers of paint and underseal, waiting for the worst possible moment to reveal their inherent fragility. The panel gaps are an insult to craftsmanship, often varying wildly in width and alignment, demonstrating a production line quality control standard that can only be described as non-existent. This leads to water ingress in heavy rain, adding further misery to the already damp and depressing interior. Moving beneath the bonnet reveals a selection of dreadful engines, each presenting its own unique set of mechanical catastrophes. The venerable A-series engine, while conceptually sound in its earliest applications, struggles desperately when forced to power the comparatively weighty and aerodynamically challenged Allegro shell. It offers woeful performance, barely adequate for maintaining modern motorway speeds. This turns simple overtaking maneuvers into terrifying acts of prolonged exposure to danger. These engines are prone to chronic oil leaks from almost every available gasket and seal, staining driveways and demanding constant vigilance regarding fluid levels. Failing this, catastrophic internal damage is imminent. They suffer from head gasket failures with disheartening regularity, often signaled by overheating and the unpleasant sight of coolant mixing with oil. This is a costly and time-consuming repair that often seems to lead directly to another failure shortly thereafter. The cooling system is frequently inadequate for the task, leading to perpetual overheating issues, especially in traffic. This renders the Allegro utterly useless for urban commuting. It subjects the driver to the distinct aroma of boiling coolant and the unsettling sight of the temperature gauge needle pressed firmly against the red zone. The E-Series engine, used in the more potent, and therefore more disastrous, variants of the Allegro, introduces an entirely new tier of mechanical complexity and subsequent failure points. This engine, often paired with the dubious 5-speed transmission, is inherently complex and terribly packaged. This makes even routine maintenance a monumental struggle, requiring specialized tools and the patience of a saint. It is infamous for camshaft wear, leading to poor running, reduced power, and eventually, terminal engine noise. The oil pressure management is often erratic, failing dramatically as the engine ages, necessitating expensive and temporary fixes that merely postpone the engine's inevitable demise. The sheer difficulty of accessing components within the engine bay, thanks to the front-wheel drive transverse layout and poor initial design planning, means that even minor repairs quickly escalate. They become frustrating, all-day affairs requiring the removal of multiple unrelated components. This further discourages proper upkeep and accelerates the car's decline into scrap metal. Trying to keep either engine running smoothly is a continuous battle against poor design tolerances, inferior materials, and decades of neglect, often resulting in intermittent running, erratic idle speeds, and a complete refusal to start on damp mornings. The transmission systems employed in the Allegro are equally contemptible, representing a genuine low point in British automotive engineering. The 4-speed manual gearbox is crude, noisy, and imprecise. The linkages stretch and loosen over time, turning gear selection into a vague, hit or miss exercise. This often results in the unpleasant grinding noise that signifies the engagement of 2 gears simultaneously. Synchromesh failure is common, making smooth downshifts a theoretical possibility rather than a practical reality, demanding slow, deliberate, and frustrating movements of the lever. The clutch mechanism often feels heavy and unresponsive, prone to premature wear and needing frequent adjustment, adding yet another item to the rapidly growing list of required mechanical interventions. The optional automatic transmission, when present, is arguably worse. It is often sluggish, hesitant, and notoriously unreliable, shifting gears arbitrarily and failing suddenly without warning. Repairing these automatic units is complicated and expensive, often exceeding the residual value of the already worthless car. The 5-speed manual gearbox, a supposed improvement, introduces further complications. Chiefly, there is the inherent unreliability associated with the integration into the E-series block. It suffers from differential failures and seal leaks that cover the underside of the car in thick, noxious gear oil. Driving an Allegro is never a smooth experience. The gear changes are always a battle, the resultant vibrations are constant, and the accompanying mechanical noise is pervasive, reminding the driver with every mile that they are operating a genuinely terrible machine. Perhaps the single most ridiculed and fundamentally awful feature of the Allegro is its hydrogas suspension system, a purported innovation that delivers nothing but complexity, discomfort, and catastrophic failure. This interdependent hydraulic system is supposed to provide a smooth, self-leveling ride. In reality, it merely ensures that when one part of the system fails, the entire suspension geometry is compromised. This often results in a severe, unsettling lean or a complete collapse of one corner of the car, rendering it undrivable. The hydrogas spheres, which contain the nitrogen gas and hydraulic fluid necessary for the suspension action, are expensive to replace, difficult to source, and frequently fail due to loss of gas pressure or internal diaphragm rupture. This turns the ride quality from merely uncomfortable into bone-jarringly harsh and uncontrollable. Maintaining this system requires specialized tools and fluids. This means that most general mechanics refuse to touch it, leaving owners at the mercy of expensive specialists. Alternatively, it condemns them to driving a dangerously sagging vehicle. Leaks in the system are distressingly common, often arising from corroded pipework or failing seals in the height control valves, leading to a constant need for expensive system repressurization, a temporary measure before the inevitable next leak occurs. The handling derived from this complex, fragile system is vague at best. The car wallows and swaying alarmingly through corners, inspiring absolutely zero confidence in the driver, making even mundane trips feel like a precarious struggle against physics. The electrical system of the Austin Allegro is a terrifying labyrinth of poor connections, insufficient wiring gauge, and components sourced from the cheapest possible suppliers. Electrical failure is a daily threat, not a rare occurrence. The wiring harnesses are brittle and prone to short circuits, often exacerbated by the persistent water leaks penetrating the cabin and engine bay. Dashboard instrumentation is notoriously unreliable, gauges reading incorrectly or failing entirely, leaving the driver ignorant of crucial engine conditions such as oil pressure or charging status, guaranteeing unexpected breakdowns. Indicators fail arbitrarily, headlights flicker ominously. The horn, vital for alerting others to the car's presence or imminent mechanical failure, works only when it chooses to, which is almost never. The alternator and starter motor assemblies are poorly designed and often fail prematurely, leaving the owner stranded with a dead battery and a profound sense of mechanical injustice. Tracing electrical faults in an Allegro is an exercise in futility. It is a nightmare of corroded terminals and spaghetti wiring that defies logical diagnosis. This leads most owners to simply ignore minor faults until they cascade into system-wide catastrophic failures, occasionally accompanied by the unpleasant smell of melting plastic insulation. Stepping inside the Allegro offers no respite from the general atmosphere of despair, providing perhaps the most infamous design failure of the entire car, the Quartic steering wheel. This non-round, vaguely rectangular abomination was supposedly designed to improve dashboard visibility. However, it merely succeeded in making low-speed maneuvering awkward, uncomfortable, and genuinely ridiculous, turning the simple act of parking into a confusing grip-based challenge. Although later models reverted to a standard round wheel, the initial Quartic design perfectly symbolizes the misguided, self-defeating nature of the car's entire design philosophy. The seating is poorly shaped, offering minimal lateral support and rapidly deteriorating padding, leading to uncomfortable journeys even over short distances. The upholstery materials are cheap, easily stained, and prone to tearing and sun damage, ensuring that even low-mileage examples look perpetually tired and neglected. The interior trim is constructed from brittle, badly molded plastics that crack and disintegrate at the slightest provocation, falling away to reveal the shoddy construction beneath. Heating and ventilation are practically non-existent. The heater matrix frequently fails or clogs, leaving the cabin cold and damp in winter. The demisting capabilities are so poor that driving in wet weather becomes a genuine hazard, with the windscreen perpetually fogged, obscuring the view of the impending roadside breakdown. The noise levels within the cabin are terrible. Engine noise, transmission whine, road roar, and suspension clunks all combine into a relentless mechanical cacophony. This makes conversation impossible and necessitates the use of industrial-strength earplugs for any journey exceeding 5 minutes. Even the simplest components suffer from endemic failure. Door handles snap off without warning, window winders seize solid or detach from the glass mechanism, and the boot lid often refuses to latch or unlock, trapping possessions within the shallow, poorly shaped luggage compartment. Everything about the interior screams cost-cutting, desperation, and a complete disregard for driver or passenger comfort, cementing the Allegro's reputation as one of the least pleasant environments in which to spend motoring time. The braking system is yet another source of continuous aggravation and potential danger. While ostensibly simple, the components are prone to premature wear, corrosion, and seizure. Brake calipers on the front wheels are notorious for sticking, causing uneven pad wear, excessive heat generation, and reduced braking efficiency. This often demands complete replacement or time-consuming, unpleasant stripping and cleaning. The rear drum brakes suffer from cylinder leakage and shoes that contaminate easily, leading to poor braking performance that is barely adequate even when fully operational. The brake lines themselves are susceptible to the widespread rust that consumes the entire underbody of the vehicle, presenting the distinct danger of catastrophic hydraulic failure when a rusted pipe finally bursts under pressure. Attempting to stop an Allegro quickly often results in a terrifying dive, a pronounced pull to one side, and a sense of profound relief that the ordeal is momentarily over, until the brakes seize again 15 minutes later. Ultimately, attempting to purchase an Austin Allegro today is an endorsement of mechanical masochism. It is a car defined by its problems, its failures, and its sheer ineptitude. Every component, from the smallest electrical connector to the major structural elements, seems designed with built-in obsolescence and maximum owner frustration in mind. Spares are becoming increasingly difficult and prohibitively expensive to source, especially for specialized items like the hydrogas spheres or unique engine parts. This means that a single significant failure can instantly transform the Allegro from a running, albeit dreadful, car into an inert, immobile garden ornament. It becomes fit only for the scrapyard, which is perhaps the only place it truly belongs. The monetary cost of continuous repair far outweighs the negligible purchase price, and the emotional cost of enduring its endless faults is incalculable. Do not be swayed by nostalgia. Do not be tempted by the artificially low prices. Do not believe any seller who suggests the car is reliable or sound. The Austin Allegro represents everything that was flawed and disastrous about British automotive manufacturing in its decline. It is a vehicle that never achieved the reliability of its foreign competitors nor the style or comfort of its domestic rivals. It is a monument to mediocrity and a testament to terrible engineering decisions, guaranteeing a constant stream of mechanical crises, electrical nightmares, and structural collapses. The potential buyer must understand that they are not investing in a piece of history. They are inviting a plague of automotive disasters into their lives, promising an unending cycle of rust repair, engine trouble, suspension collapse, and electrical failure. This will leave them financially poorer, emotionally drained, and regretting the day they ever considered buying this profoundly awful car. It is a terrible machine that should be avoided at all costs. It should be left to decay gracefully or, preferably, be responsibly recycled into something genuinely useful, like tin cans or possibly high-quality paper clips, anything but another ill-conceived motor vehicle. Every mile driven is a victory against its inherent desire to break down, and every night parked is a night spent worrying about what new failure the morning will bring. This car is a mistake, pure and simple, and buying one is merely perpetuating that monumental, expensive, and frustrating error. The very act of considering an Allegro suggests a profound misunderstanding of personal welfare and mechanical longevity. It is a choice that promises only disappointment and financial ruin through continuous, pointless repair expenditure. It is a disaster on wheels, frequently stopping, and never starting again when it matters most, embodying mechanical failure in its purest form, a vehicle entirely unfit for the purpose of transport or pleasure. This is a car destined for the back of a mechanic's yard, forever waiting for parts that will never arrive, sinking slowly into the earth as corrosion claims its final, total victory over the terrible design, a fate that should be avoided by all sensible individuals looking for reliable, simple, and genuinely functional transportation, something the Austin Allegro fundamentally is not and never was, a warning preserved in steel that turns rapidly to rust. The pervasive nature of its rust issues means that fundamental structural integrity is always compromised, creating a danger far exceeding mere inconvenience. The constant requirement for welding patches on crucial load-bearing points means the car's structural resilience is always questionable, turning what should be simple maintenance into major, dangerous reconstruction. The low quality of materials extends far beyond the steel itself, encompassing the shoddy rubber seals, the brittle plastic components, and the porous alloys used in the engines. All these factors contribute to a rapid, inevitable degradation across every system. Even attempting to restore an Allegro is a financially ruinous pursuit, demanding specialized knowledge to overcome the terrible design flaws and requiring fabrication of parts that simply do not exist in the spares market any longer. It is a terrible investment of time and money, offering zero return and maximum frustration, a guaranteed mechanical headache for anyone foolish enough to take on the challenge. The engine bay is so cramped that even changing spark plugs is an ordeal. This necessitates acrobatic efforts and skinned knuckles, a testament to truly poor ergonomic packaging. This design discourages proper servicing and accelerates the vehicle's collapse into dereliction. The Allegro truly excels only at being consistently and comprehensively bad, failing in every measurable category of automotive performance, reliability, and quality, a monument to failure that should be left untouched, a historical curiosity of absolute mechanical ineptitude. The pursuit of Allegro ownership is a guaranteed path to frustration, expense, and ultimate, undeniable disappointment, a choice made against all sensible judgment and sound financial advice, sealing the fate of the buyer to a future filled with breakdowns and constant, depressing repair bills. It is a truly awful car, and its purchase guarantees years of misery.